welcome everybody to this week's World of Tanks subscriber replays. My name as always is Maxwell, and today's first video is from the user Fuck You. That's Fuck You, and he's driving the 113, which is the Chinese Tier 10 heavy tank. So Fuck You was actually one of the guys who was involved in the YouTube Dream Team live stream that happened at the end of last month. It was an awesome night, great fun was had by all, and yeah, like I said, Fuck You was involved in that and was a great player throughout. I've got the highlight videos up on this channel, as have some of the other guys involved in that night as well. So before we get too far into this replay, just want to say congratulations to the previous name, the thumbnail winner, which was Abraham Lincoln. That's right, Abraham Lincoln, correctly identifying that it was indeed the SU-85 on the highway, so congratulations to you. The people that have been asking the picture, when I say name the thumbnail, what I mean by that is name the, when you have a look in your subscription box on the front page of YouTube, the picture that you get there for the video. So whatever picture appears for the video, the first person to correctly identify the tank and the map will win a shout out in the next video. So just a little congratulations. It's just a just for fun competition. There's no actual prizes out there apart from kudos. And you guys, your tank and map knowledge always astounds me. The fact that you're able to pick out exactly which tank it is and on which map is always amazing. Even the guys who don't get it right always get pretty close, naming either the tank correctly or the map correctly, or getting it very, very close. So you guys' knowledge always astounds me. So congratulations to everybody, but particularly to Abraham Lincoln for getting that one right. So to this replay, the 113 being pretty fast, he's decided to take up a position on the hill. He's got a Lorraine and a Batchat to offer some support. It looks like everybody... Oh, taking that shot a little bit too quickly there. So it looks like everybody's just going to be posturing at the edge of the hill here and going to be trying to get some shots on each other's weak points. But not wanting to be the first people to commit to cresting the hill, as the enemy team on both sides, so the enemies and the allies, both have a sizable force here. So what you want to do is just kind of hover around the edge of the top of the hill here, and as the enemy comes over, just take a good shot at them. Front armor of the 113 being nicely sloped there, able to bounce some good shots. Looks like the enemy team has the higher tiers in the areas. They've got a tier 9, is that the Lorraine? Just going to be waiting for someone to make a move here and see if they can pick them off as they come over the top. The T62A there, just taking a little bit of punishment for trying to get behind the building. Manages to get a little bit of damage on that T110E5 there. So this is absolutely what you want to be doing in this situation, is you don't want to just be rushing up and trying to take a position behind the building, as all of these guns here hovering just on the other side of that ridge will have a free shot at you, and that will be an early trip back to the garage for you. You definitely don't want to do that. What you want to do is just kind of posture around the top of the hill like this, try and lure the enemy into having a shot, or if they don't have a shot, try and get a hit on the top of their turret or any of their weak spots. So something like a T-34 or anything with very good turret armor here would be absolutely excellent in this kind of situation. The IS-3 is also pretty good in this situation because it doesn't have that pronounced command hatch on the top of it, meaning that you have to come right over the top of the hill in order to try and get a shot on it. So as you can see, Fuck You just deciding to do just that and cresting all the way over the top of the hill in order to get a shot through that IS-3's turret ring there. Because it doesn't have a pronounced command hatch, not really able to find a weak spot just on the top there. Taking a shot while typing in chat there, but knowing that his armor was good enough to save him. Takes a little bit of damage from that IS-3, but he's got the cannon and he's got the hit points to be able to back that one up. Whereas all the IS-3 can do is back up and try and get out of there. Use this repair kit just to fix the cannon there, because you don't want to have a cannon that's too badly damaged, especially when you're about to take the hill, because Once you've taken the hill, the idea is to just sit here and then rain fire down on your enemies, which is exactly what they're going to be doing from a great distance. As you can see, spotted out in IS-7 here. I'm going to try and predict his movement there. Not quite able to get any damage on him. Not really surprised, because the side armor of an IS-7 is still pretty formidable with that spacing. You can land a hit on the IS-7 that you're pretty sure is going to penetrate, but it doesn't always. So he's just going to be pushing on there. Looks like he's actually in the little swamp area. Just going to have to play this one a little bit careful. Looks like somebody tracked him there, but he's decided to repair. IS-7 pushing out a little bit on his own there, so probably thinking that he had a little bit more support than he actually does, because nobody's gone with him. And unfortunately gets himself taken out. So when you're driving an IS-7, don't think to yourself that you're absolutely invincible, because yes, your armor is pretty formidable and your speed and agility make you a force to be reckoned with, but if you push all the way up the swamp all by yourself when the enemy holds the hill, then you're almost certainly going to get taken out, like that IS-7 was. What you want to use that tank for is in a flanking role. So what he probably should have done is just gone down all the way to the far left-hand flank and tried to support his allies over that way, rather than trying to push through the swamp all on his lonesome, especially when he knew that he'd been spotted out, because he started taking hits from the right and from the front. So that should have been his signal to go ahead and retreat. So they've picked off pretty much all the targets that they can easily spot from that hill there, so just going to head down into the lower area here and try and find out who is camping in this area. Finds a Fock there. A little bit of a soul brother, but not going to let sentimentality get in the way of it, and he's going to try and put a shot straight through his armor. Although it looks like he's been caught out a little bit here, as he's a little bit in the open. Not quite able to get any damage on the T11 there, the 110E5. It's got to be a short way of saying that, so if somebody's got a suggestion of a shorthand way of saying that tank, that would be great. Gonna see if he can get a hit through this guy's weak spot before he backs off, and indeed he can. Finds out the right-hand side of the turret there, able to put a shot right through the little flat bit. Gonna try and shoot the observation device of this Fock once again, and manages to get a shot straight through that and probably destroyed it. Although the close quarters fighting means he's probably not in desperate need of that observation device right about now, but it is a convenient weak spot that Fock you can just try and get shell after shell in there and try and take this guy out. And indeed that is what he is able to do, picking up his third kill now of this match, so having a pretty good one. And even manages to get a MLG kill secure on that T11OE5 there, getting a shot through the back of the turret to pick up his fourth kill now. Enemy who pushed through on the left flank hadn't been dealt with properly, so they are now starting the base capture off. There's nobody really in range to, one, do anything about it, or two, get any eyes on the area. They've got a medium tank up in the forest there, that Lorraine 40 ton. It looks like he's making a beeline down, but it looks like they've spotted some of the guys out. No, he's actually spotted out that ST1 back in the enemy base. Knows that he's got time to just have a cheeky little shot at him before he tries and lands a shot on the guys capturing the base. Has a shot there blind at the area where he thought he was, but unfortunately he'd probably just put himself behind the rock or behind the corpse of that other tank. And that shot, unfortunately, not about landing. But it looks like they're getting some damage on them now, so this is going to be all she wrote for the enemy team by the looks of it. It's just that ST... Is that an ST1? No, it's an IS4. So I mistakenly identified that one as an ST1 earlier, but no, it's an IS4. Pretty formidably armoured from the front, but not as good from the side. So Fock is going to be able to just put a shell through his ass there and take him out for his 5th kill of this match. And finds the ST1 just languishing in the swamp there. It's just going to be a case of everybody now going to pile on and try and be the guy who gets the last kill on this one. and there's going to be nothing really they can do. So absolutely awesome replay there from FOCU. Thank you very much for sending that one in and showing us the power of the Chinese 113 heavy tank. So stick around, guys, because there is another replay coming right up. And our next replay is from the user Alex185, spelled with all the X's. That's Alex185. He's driving the T-71 on a standard battle on Erlenberg. You don't see a standard battle on Erlenberg very often. It's normally an assault or an encounter. So the T-71 being the Tier 7 light tank for the Americans, the one that follows on from the T-21, which again follows on from some other tank there. Probably, I think it's the M7 and something else. So going to be doing the job of a light tank driver, which is scouting. Going to be heading up to this northern flank on the far left hand side. I'm going to be seeing who we can spot out. With the spawn locations, normally gets here before anybody, but no, actually a Leopard gets here before he does. Leopard, a pretty good fast tank. And he's actually able to get a little bit of damage through the front of the T-71 here, and then an AMX 5100 comes to back him up. So it's time for Alex to just get the hell out of there. He's done his job and spotted a few people on this left-hand flank, and now his task is complete. Can't really go toe-to-toe with that AMX 5100, to be honest. Well, that Object 704 can, so he's going to be pretty much okay in this area. Just going to be hanging around to see if he can offer any support here to that Object 704. If he's not careful, he could get caught out and eliminated. Leopard hanging around for way too long there, leaving himself out in the open and just getting taken out. Having a cheeky shot at the 5100 there and actually landing it. So nice work there. But again, just doing the smart thing and just going to relocate, because there's nothing really he can do to help that Object 704. And to be honest, that Object 704 is going to be more than capable of holding off that 5100. Even if he's not going to destroy him, just the threat of that Object 704 is going to force that 5100 just to keep his distance and keep away from there. And it looks like that's pretty much all that the enemy has committed to that left-hand flank. Oh no, another heavy tank appearing. But Alex just going to be relocating to this central area here, because even if that left and northern flank gets taken out, which it now has, they should be able to drop some shells on the enemy from this elevated hill position here. Found a couple of heavy tanks in the south here. Just going to see if we can pick up some good sniping shots on them. Just going to wait for his reticule to close in a little bit. Going to see if we can lay some damage on this Tiger. Unfortunately, both those shots just about missing. And the Tiger doing the smart thing of trying to get himself behind this house. And unfortunately, just takes a little bit of pain for his trouble there. So Alex is going to go ahead and reload and then head down to this southern flank. So we're going to wait for his gun to reload and keep the house between himself and this Jagdtiger 8.8, which is absolutely the smart thing to do. Once his gun's reloaded, he's going to flank around to the side of him, have a shot on the rear armor, and that, oh no, a little bit moving a little bit prematurely there and just missing a shot when he didn't need to. So a little bit unfortunate there from Alex185, but worked out for the best in the end. And with that all sewn up, he's going to be heading across to this left-hand flank, come at the enemy from the rear. The enemy does like, the team that spawns in this southern area does like to camp around in that castle area. And you see it's a Jagdpanther and an E75 both camped up there, which Alex has spotted out. He's just going to try and flank around to the side of them and draw their fire as his allies, the heavy tanks, come across that bridge. Looks like the Jagdpanther's trying to focus on trying to take out this light tank when he should be looking towards that bridge, which is where the heavy tanks are coming from. Just going to have a quick scout around in this forest. Going to see if we can find the artillery, that Lorraine 155. Looks like he's not here, so he's just going to move back over to the courtyard. I'm going to see if he can surprise some of these other tanks. Looks like that 5100's come back from the northern flank here, or maybe that was a second 5100. Jagdpanther now focusing on who should have been focusing on earlier. Unfortunately, he's left it a little bit too late, and he's not able to see the T-71 as he comes in. He's going to get himself taken out now. So we're going to use the Jagdpanther's corpse as cover, and it looks like that E75 hasn't spotted him, which is going to be good for him. And 5100 changes targets as he realises he's not really going to be able to get a shot on this T-71, and so tries to shoot at the larger threats as they come on. So Alex takes this opportunity just to head out of the combat, have another quick scout around for this artillery, which really should be in this area because he hasn't found it yet. Just going to go a little bit deeper into the forest, but no, it looks like the artillery isn't here, so not sure where he is. He's probably in that other forest, or maybe on that road up the left-hand flank. Going to have a couple of shots at this Jagdpanther too. Going to try and get some damage through his side and rear armor, which he should be able to, no problem whatsoever, but it looks like he gets himself taken out. And that just leaves... Well, I was going to say that just leaves the artillery and the 5100, but it looks like the artillery's actually gone ahead and taken the coward's way out and drowned himself. So Harry Potter 191, you sir are a coward for driving into the river and drowning yourself. So it's just that 5100 left, and the wolf pack is going to descend around him, close on him, and eliminate him. So pretty good replay there from Alex 185, picking himself up 3 kills in the T-71 and showing what a good little scout this tank can be when used on the flanks correctly. So awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. And there's another one coming right up. And our next replay is from the user Ong Hai. That's Ong Hai, and he's driving the VK3002D on a standard battle on the mines. And the 3002D is the one of the tier 7 medium tanks for the Germans. Germans having a lot of medium tanks around the tier 5, 6 and 7 region, so sometimes some of them get lost in the mix. You've got the 3001, the 3002, the 3601, god, they just go on and on and on. So going to be doing what a fast tank should be doing, which is heading for the hill. Going to punish anybody else who's trying to come up in this area. Not sure what the SU-122-44 is thinking he's going to be doing in this situation. He's not really fast enough to get up there, and the medium tank's just punishing him for trying. And there they've taken up a good defensive position, but it looks like the enemy isn't done pushing yet, as this T1 Heavy is also going to try and get up onto the hill, but he just gets set on fire and absolutely obliterated there. So the guys on the hill are just going to keep the enemy pinned down and keep them forced back. An M5 Steward caught out in the open, and Ong Hai picks up his first kill of the match. So the job for the guys on the hill now is to keep the enemy pushed back from the top of the ridge here, so they can't take up defensive positions behind those rocks, and it just means that there's no chance of them peeking over the top and getting any shots on the allies here. Doing a good job of whittling down that SU-122-44, and he earns himself an early trip back to the garage for not respecting the guys in this area. So once the cleanup is done and the idiots who try and capture the hill in the second wave have been cleaned up, it's just going to be a case of posturing around this rock here. Actually, it looks like that Screen just shaking a little bit too much to see what that is. It's 3601. So it looks like the 3601 didn't get the memo about not trying to capture the hill anymore, and he comes up and takes pretty much 90% of his hit points evaporate in a few seconds. As you can see, they've got them nicely pushed back here, so it's going to be a case of just driving backwards and forwards in an attempt to not get hit by artillery, although it looks like some clever so-and-so's already been at the enemy base and taken out their artillery. So he's just going to have a little reverse back here and try and get some damage on this Hellcat. And this Hellcat makes the cardinal mistake. If you get shot and it does a decent amount of damage to you, don't just sit there and wait to have your next shot. Start moving immediately, or else that will happen. By the time you start trying to make a move to get out of there, it's already too late and you are pretty much dead to rights, which is what happened with the Hellcat there. He didn't start moving early enough and got himself eliminated. Now this T-29's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. He can't really go forward because there's enemy there. He can't really go backwards because that's where he's been shot from. In that situation, he probably wanted to just start reversing and try and put the big rock here between himself and Ong Hai, or drive forward to put the little rock between himself and just try and face tank the damage from the front there from that Hellcat. But like I said, he was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place there. He didn't really have anywhere to go, and Ong Hai was able to finish him off and pick up his third kill so far of this game. So it's still pretty even though they've been able to take the hill and hold it pretty successfully and win on most flanks. It's still a fairly even kill game at 11-9, now 11-10. It's not a big stretch of the imagination to imagine the enemy team coming back from this one, and indeed they may indeed go ahead and do that. You can see a Comet was that, closing in on the Allied base and going to be hunting down that artillery, the Su-8. So Ong Hai just going to be dropping back, although he spots out this juicy T-150 here. Can't make up his mind on who he wants to eliminate, so decides to go for this T-150 as, again, the T-150 makes the same cardinal mistake. Rather than starting to drive immediately, just sits there and thinks to himself, well, I can get one more shot off, but no, that cost him his life, and he was able to get no more shots off. So really, as soon as he takes that damage from the side, he should have started driving forwards. Who was he up against? He was against a Black Prince, and it's 50-50 whether a Black Prince can penetrate his front armour, but this 30-02 could have penetrated his side armour all day. So really, as soon as he took damage there, he should have started driving and put that house between himself and the damage that was coming in from that right-hand side. So the game swung nicely in the favour of the Allies here. Takes a big hit in the face from this Hellcat, but he knows that Hellcat's got a pretty decent reload time, so he's going to be able to get some good damage on the side of him now before he's able to get himself into the cover of that rock, and then he uses his next shot to take out his fellow Hellcat. But it looks like all the enemy team has left is a T-25-2 and a Hellcat. So the Allied team should be able to finish them off, especially with this Hellcat only on 42 hit points. So he's just going to make the decision to rush him here, going to see if he can get around this corner, take him by surprise, and indeed he's looking in the wrong direction, so that is absolutely what he's able to do. Now this T-25-2 is camped in the enemy base, inside that bush. So just going to nudge himself out, use the corpses here as cover. Going to wait for him to show himself again, get some damage on him, but no, that shot just about missed, unfortunately. And that one was a 0 damage critical. But the T-25-2 doing the smart thing, at least, of when he gets hit, puts himself behind that rock, waits for a little bit until he fades back into the fog of war, and then probably pokes himself out. Personally, I probably would have had a shot into that bush there after he faded away, just on the off chance that I was able to hit him. But I would have missed because he's driven to the other side of that rock. So can he pick up the last kill? No, I was going to say, can he pick up the last kill for the Top Gun medal? But no, Su-8 going ahead and taking out the last one, the T-25-2. But still, an amazing showing there from Ong Hai, showing off his skills driving the VK-30-02D. So awesome replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in, and stick around because there's one more to come. And our final replay of the day is from the user Mark119. That's Mark119. I was driving the T110E5 on an encounter battle on Himmelsdorf. So on an encounter battle, everybody spawns on this hill, so it's natural for the quick tanks and some of the heavier tanks to head up to this area and try and get some free shots on the enemy as they come over the hill. As you can see, cresting that hill there would expose the lower plates of any tanks coming over the top here, so it's a good idea to get in position first, try and get some free damage on the enemy. That T62A taking a couple of massive hits there as he comes over the top. The E75 kind of just squatting and then deciding to try and reverse away. Probably would have been safer for him to just turn a little bit to his right and then head behind the back of this church here, as it was as he reversed backwards there, took a shot on his lower plate and took a good chunk of his hit points off. That mouse doing the same, sitting just on the top of the hill there, but again, the angle that he's sat at, he's kind of exposing his lower plates. Not that it really matters for a mouse, because that thing is ridiculously armoured, but giving the enemy as few opportunities as possible is always the best idea. But it looks like the enemy's actually concentrated quite a significant amount of force to this hill compared to the Allies, who have these two guys here and a couple going around the side there. So they're going to have to play this one smart. IS-7 taking a good hit on his lower plate as well. This 0E5 being a bit of a beast here, not taking any damages, keeping that front armour angled very nicely, and it does have a decent bit of protection on the front, especially when you have it angled correctly like this, when it's the only point that you present for the enemy and you've got it angled nicely. Thinking about having a shot on this mouse, you could just about see the lower plate there, but hitting the ground instead. And they're both able to get a shot through on that mouse. To be honest, the mouse should have crested the hill long ago and taken up position behind this IS-7 and maybe just pushed forward so that his allies could do the same with him. To be honest, probably should have came up and just soaked up as much damage as he could so his allies could have pushed around the sides and gotten shots through the side armour of Mark here and his ally, the E75, just behind him. So this IS-7 going to be doing what he can to try and hold off the allies. And this mouse, not sure what he's doing, is he's presenting full side armour now. That's not really angled in any way that's going to ever bounce a shot. So he decides that discretion is the better part of valor, and he's just going to run away down the hill. IS-7 just about getting his fire extinguisher off before he is eliminated, but to be honest, with only 77 hit points, well, I was going to say with 77 hit points he's not really going to be able to affect much change in this battle, but we've seen guys get taken down to less than 100 hit points and then still be instrumental in the way that a battle is fought. It looks like this IS-7 not quite giving up the game just yet. Going to take a couple of shots, but that last one from Mark is able to finish him off, picking up kill number 2. Now, if you remember, there was a mouse reversing down this hill here, so we're going to see if he's just waiting at the bottom to shout surprise. Looks like he is, but he's a little bit too slow and takes a big hit in his side for his trouble. To be honest, he probably should have relocated further away or just been slightly faster on the trigger there. As it is, his rear armour is exposed here. And he is dead, giving Mark his 3rd kill now of this match. Scores are all tied up at 8-8, even though the enemies seem to commit far more forces to the hill than the allies did. It looks like they've been able to prevail on the ground here, so losing on the hill but winning on the ground. So it looks like the guys from the hill are going to have to come down and try and offer them some support. It looks like they're all kind of camped along that G line there. They've all swept down from their spawn points, and this is where they are making their stand along the G line. Going to be sitting in this building. Going to see if he can get a shot on this IS-3. Indeed he can. He's even able to take out the IS-3's tracks, who either didn't invest in a repair kit or has already used it. And then that Panther 2 goes and just picks him off and takes him out of the battle. So winning ever so slightly at 10-9 now. It looks like they are, if you pay attention to the minimap, they're getting flanked by that Jagdpanzer E100. So that's definitely not a tank that you want to try and take on head on, as that thing has an absolutely ridiculous cannon. It does have a 30-second reload time, however. It can only fire 2 shots per minute. But it can do well over 1,000 damage per hit. But luckily, Mark's come at him from the rear. And this Jagdpanzer E100, not really known as the most manoeuvrable tank out there. Not the most manoeuvrable tank destroyer or the most manoeuvrable tank. And even in a heavy tank, it looks like Mark's able to give him the run around. A little bit of a mistake there from the Jagdpanzer E100, rather than just sitting and trying to spin on the spot. Should have been reversing in order to get his back as close to that wall as possible to stop Mark being able to go around the back of him, which is exactly what he does that time, which is what he should have done before, which was get his back against the wall so that he can't drive around behind him. It looks like he's able to get his gun on target, and boom! Able to get a massive... That was about 11 or 1,200 points of damage. But like I said, that thing has a 30-second reload time, so Mark knows he's going to have a lot of time now. And he's going to be able to... Well, it looks like the IS-7... No, the Lorraine 15551 is able to rain some death from the sky and is able to take him out just before his gun was reloaded there. A little bit of a risk. A little bit of a risky move, because if that Lorraine had missed that shot, it probably would have been curtains for the E5 here for Mark. But luckily, that one working out just about right. Oh, nice shot there, taking out the IS-7's tracks and setting him on fire. It looks like somebody in a tier 10 was too much of a cheapskate to pay for that 3,000 credit fire extinguisher. So able to finish off the IS-7 with just 2 shots there. And that M4043 landing a big shot there just next to him. Luckily it wasn't a direct hit, as it only did just under 500 points of damage there and eliminated his track. If that had hit him dead on, that would have been curtains for him. But no, landing just to the side, taking out his track and taking him down to 48 hit points. So by the time he's able to find this M4043, he's going to have his cannon reloaded, so he's going to have to play this one slightly carefully. The Lorraine 155 just getting into position there, waiting to fire on the indicated areas. Mark's just going to be heading around the back of this train station. He's got to keep his eyes peeled here, because if the M4043 is able to get the drop on him, he will have that cannon reloaded. And he will have more than enough splash damage, but no, able to pick him off as he drives around the back of the train station there. Able to eliminate the last guy on the enemy team for his 5th kill. So absolutely amazing replay there from Mark119, showing his skills in the T110E5. So absolutely brilliant bunch of replays from everybody. Thank you very much for sending those in. Remember, if you've got yourself a good replay, what you want to do is make sure that you've got battle recording enabled in the options menu, and then it will save all of your games to a folder in your World of Tanks installation folder called replays. And then what you want to do is get those attached to an email and send that to replay@screenreality.com. That's replay@screenreality.com. The link for that will be in the description, and I will do my best to turn as many of your brilliant replays into videos as possible. So as always, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section below and have a go at identifying what tank and what map is featured in the thumbnail to win a shout out in the very next video. So thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I will catch you next time.